You're welcome back. Time for business now, and Daryl Call joins me in the studio. Hi, Daryl.
Hi, Robs. Looking great in yellow.
Thank you.
Anyway, we are talking about the housing sector tonight.
Right.
Do you own a home?
I don't own. I rent.
But at least you have a place to
But
live.
yes, that's in the in the
figures
plans.
point to a 1.7 million housing deficit in terms of units.
Wow.
And we are lagging behind, and it looks like it's going to increase in the future to like 2 million.
Well, that's strange because governments come and go, and they keep saying that they're building or constructing, affordable housing units for Ghanaians.
Right, and so we're hearing from government now. They're saying that they are going to pass the Real Estate Act, which is supposed to allow them to effectively and efficiently run the housing sector. I'm going to be telling you more on that on the business news. Now, as we've been saying, it's estimated that government needs about $34 billion to address the current housing deficit. The country's housing needs is in short supply, as I've been telling about, of 1.7 million units, and is projected to climb to 2 million by 2018. The situation requires the introduction of pragmatic and deliberate policies. Well, government says it would ensure the speedy passage of the Real Estate Act to streamline the housing sector. Charles Aite filed this report from the Accra International Conference Center, where the 2017 edition of the MNC Multi-TV Habitat Fair has opened.
This year's Habitat Fair has seen over 25 exhibitors converge on the Accra International Conference Center with the aim of offering affordable housing for Ghanaians below the middle-income bracket. Deputy Director of the Ministry of Works and Housing, Dr. Theresa Tufor, has hinted of the speedy passage of the Real Estate Act so as to streamline the housing sector.
We believe that within this year it should be passed. The Real Estate Agency Bill should be passed. It's not only the Real Estate Agency Bill. We think that there should be policy cohesion, and we are also looking at condominium bill because there are a lot of condominiums and gated communities that are springing up recently. So we also have the Rent Act, which is being reviewed, and then the building regulation as well. So we have quite a number, about 4 bills that we're working on at the ministry currently.
Speaking to Joy Business, Executive Director of MNC Properties, Eric Cody, assured prospective clients of massive discounts up to 25%.
We intend giving them as much as 25%, and but we have other plans as well. They can come over, we talk about what other problems that they want us to address, and then we take it from there. We are prepared to listen to them, work within their budgets, and see what we can do to ease their plight.
On his part, Head of Sethi Realty is impressed on banks to ease up their cost of loans so as to leverage the overall cost of their products.
The lending institutions have lost their voice when selling their products to the indigenous. The only place where you will actually find information on mortgages is indeed within the banks. I am charging all the financial institutions to come out of their institutions and sell the information.
Meanwhile, Joy Business caught up with some other exhibitors who say this year's fair comes with great opportunities.
This is my first time coming here as a person, but DBS has been here over and over again. And from the reports that I get, DBS has benefited a lot with the Habitat Fair.
It's a good opportunity for a company like Grand Pacific to showcase what we have and what we do for our clients in Mother Ghana, in the sense that we participated last year. When those who come by, and then the publicity we are getting, definitely will expose us to a number of people, those who don't know us and those who also already know us.
The 8th edition of the Habitat Fair is underway here at the Accra International Conference Center. Massive discounted sales, if you do ask me, as tens of patrons and prospective clients have currently thronged the entire scene of the Accra International Conference Center to get for themselves the best of deals at very low prices. The main aim for this very year's event is very simple: affordable housing to help bridge the 1.7 million housing deficit that the country is currently being faced with.
In other news tonight, Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Ernest Addison, has confirmed that the planned capital increase for banks will be announced in 3 weeks. He was speaking at the annual general meeting of the Ghana Association of Bankers. The central bank had earlier this week indicated that it would announce the new capital levels as soon as it completes work on some 9 banks said to be in financial distress. According to the regulator, it is almost through with the required engagement with all the players in the banking industry to aid the announcement.
We will be doing to help the domestic banks to raise additional capital. As always, the environment has to be an enabling one for a successful international financial services center, in particular the macroeconomic environment. And you know the work that has been done in this area this year. We've seen a significant improvement in the macro environment. And the inflation rates have come down, the exchange rate is stable, and we expect that this progress will be sustained in order to underpin that financial services center.
Addressing the annual general meeting of the Ghana Association of Bankers, Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta justified the need for the minimum capital requirement for banks to be increased.
To begin to develop certain instruments which could be used for Tier 2 capital so that we can shore up the capacity of the banking sector.
Banks have welcomed the Finance Minister's assurance that government will settle all debts owed them next month. Al-Hassan Andani is president of the Ghana Association of Bankers.
News, very, very welcome news, and we've always said that the chunk of public sector debt that has impacted the non-performing assets of banks has been a big drain and on the banks, and therefore we take the minister's comments very seriously, and that it should create more healthy balance sheet and bring some liquidity back into the industry.
One would ask that again, what would these payments also mean to the financial position of the banks in terms of liquidity, and also some would say cost of credit?
No, look, I mean, once because the non-performing assets is a huge cost to us, and therefore once they become liquid and paying, that cost is reduced. The liquidity that is also tied up in those assets which we can no longer circulate now becomes liquid, and we can circulate that. So for me, it solves that double problem of illiquidity and also cost.
Well, economist with Data Bank, Courage Mart, explains what this would mean for banks and the economy if government settles the debts owed the banks.
The good side is that the banks then have credit or liquidity to lend to the private sector. If you look at the MPC data that was published last month, what you will notice is that despite the sustained decline in the policy rate, we've not seen a commensurate increase in the lending or loan book advances of commercial banks. So the loan book has not been growing. It's remained around 36 billion cedis since the start of the year. That shows that the policy rate reduction is not reflecting in the growth in loan book, mainly because asset is tied down in non-performing loans. Now, once this payment is done, you have these loans now performing and liquidity injected back into the banking system. And the banks will have to work with this money. And so they give it back to the private sector as credit. Now, with the improved quality of assets, risk rating would reduce definitely. And once the risk profile reduces, the risk premium that is charged on credit should go down, and the lending rate, which is the cost of credit, should also go down.
So it's more of good news for the economy rather than us thinking that it's more of a bad thing.
It's more of a good news because of your banking sector is the fuel that drives economic activity. If you release capital back into the banking sector, they would be efficiently able to allocate this capital to productive sectors of the economy, and the economy would grow.
Now, Executive Chairman of JL Holdings, Dr. James Ollins-Lindsay, is prevailing on Ghanaian business owners to attach more importance to business succession planning for their enterprises to survive beyond them. According to him, it is high time indigenous entrepreneurs did away with the culture of passing down companies to family and friends instead of qualified persons. He spoke on Business Leadership Program, the Executive Lounge, on Joy News.
Those are the, I think most of them, what happens is that their plan is to leave it with their children, the children to manage it, and I've seen that that does not work. My eldest son just finished LSE, and he's not interested in working in the company. He's on his own, he's working for somebody else. He says, listen, Pop, I want to gather experience. Well, I say, yeah, that's fine. People have, wrong priorities, and I keep telling them. Somebody comes to me and says, I want a 5-bedroom because I have 5 children and all that. Look, they're going to leave to uni. Why do you want 5 bedrooms? Let them share 2 or 3 rooms for now. Save the money for something else. So I intend getting people to succeed me from inside, not for sure being my family or my children or my nephews or nieces. No. It doesn't work. It has not worked here. People should stop that.
Well, the full episode of that interview airs at 6 p.m. on Saturday here on Joy News. And that'll be it for business. My name is Daryl Kwao. The news continues after this break.